In this lesson, we'll learn how to copy appearance attributes from one object to another. Alright, so we've talked about appearance attributes for our objects here in Illustrator. Now let's talk about copying the appearance attribute of one object over to another, because there's a couple of different ways that we can go about doing this. Let's go ahead and just zoom in here on our objects. And you know what, let's go ahead and first talk about the eyedropper tool. Now the eyedropper tool is right over here in your toolbox. The keyboard shortcut for that is I. And the eyedropper tool works a couple of different ways. So let's go ahead and first just select this object using our control modifier key. And let me just go ahead and select this object on the right using the eyedropper tool. So we can copy the appearance attributes from this object to the selected object. Just like so. Alright, so not only can we copy appearance attributes from an object to our selected object, but we can actually copy them from a selected object to another object just by holding down our Alt key. And you can see here how our eyedropper cursor actually changes. It looks now like a full eyedropper. So we've held down the held down the Alt key, and we can just click on this square and copy the appearance attributes from this selected object to our new object. So it goes both ways. Let me go ahead and undo that here. Now the eyedropper tool is going to work just a little bit differently when it comes to things like gradients. So let me just deselect that object here, and I'm going to go ahead and select our square here, and we've got a gradient here. Now obviously we can just click on this gradient and apply the same gradient to our square on the left here. But what if we just want to sample one specific color from this gradient? Let me go ahead and just undo that change here, and I'll hold down my Shift key when I select this. And let's just select maybe this yellow right here. You can see that that was actually applied to the stroke because I have the stroke as the frontmost object here. Let me just undo that and select the fill for this object. We'll hide that, and I'll hold down Shift and select this yellow again. And you can see here how it's applying only a sampled area of our gradient. So we could do that for any of the colors in our gradient just by holding down Shift on our keyboard when we sample that. Now this is going to be really helpful also for doing a point sample from, say, a photograph that maybe you've brought into Illustrator. Maybe you want to sample the specific color of a certain pixel in that photograph. You can actually hold down Shift and do just that. So let me go ahead and show you here some of the options for your eyedropper tool. We can get to those over here by double clicking on the eyedropper tool, and you can see here we've got a lot of different options. We have two columns here. The column on the left says eyedropper picks up. So these are the items that the eyedropper is going to pick up. And on the right you can see here items that the eyedropper is going to apply. You can actually come in here and uncheck or check these however you want to. By default it looks like they are all checked. Now we also have an option down here at the bottom of this options window for raster sample size, and by default it's set to point sample. That's what we were doing on the gradient. We did a point sample. Again, it works for a raster document like a photograph. So if you were working with a photograph here in Illustrator, we could actually come down here and choose 3x3 average or 5x5 average here from this drop down as well. So these are the options for our eyedropper tool. So let me go ahead and cancel these out here. Now, I want to show you one other item here, and again, this is just a simple square that we've applied multiple strokes to. If we look at it here in our appearance panel, multiple strokes, and we actually have a custom stroke width profile applied to the yellow stroke here. So, you know what, let's go ahead and try and sample this with the eyedropper tool and see what happens. We'll just switch over to that with the I keyboard shortcut and sample that here. Now, in looking at what's been sampled and applied, it looks like this new object only has a purple stroke. It doesn't have the yellow custom stroke width that was applied to this object. So you can see here that the eyedropper tool isn't picking up the custom stroke width, and it's actually only picking up one of the two strokes. So let me go ahead and show you a way that we can also copy appearance attributes over to an object. Let me go ahead and undo that here. I'll go ahead and select this object that has the multiple strokes and the custom stroke width applied to it. And if we come up here in our appearance panel, we've got this little swatch preview of the path that we have selected. Another way we can copy the appearance attributes for this object to another object is simply to grab this little preview icon right here and drag it over to the object that we want to apply these to. So you can see here how my cursor changes as I mouse over this black square. Now if I just drop that, you can see here that we've applied the appearance attributes exactly as they were applied to this original object to our new object, including the second stroke and the custom stroke width. And let me just go ahead and tell you from experience, using both methods of copying appearance attributes is actually going to become a regular part of your workflow. So I'd get used to working with both of these different methods here. So in this lesson, we have learned how to copy appearance attributes from one object to another. In the next lesson, we're going to continue on and begin looking at how Illustrator handles color.